for Beyond Yoga, it was always about the promise of getting people beyond the mat. And so now today, we've got an expanded line that allows people to go from workout to work to special occasion. Some of the new categories that we've launched, like dresses or outerwear or fleece or lifestyle pants, truly do allow people to go beyond the mat now. And as we roll out these new categories, we're continuing to see strong momentum there and growth for the business. And so we want to lean in where it makes sense for our brand, which will always be rooted in movement.
Welcome to Retail Remix. Today, we're diving into the world of brand building with a leader who has mastered the art of scaling with soul. Katie Babineau is the CMO of Beyond Yoga, which stands out in the volatile, competitive activewear space for doing something incredibly rare, staying consistent. From its cult favorite Spacedye fabric to its unwavering commitment to body inclusivity long before it was a marketing buzzword, Beyond Yoga has built a brand that people don't just wear, they trust. Today, we're going to talk with Katie about the feeling of a brand, how you build it, and how you maintain it authentically, even through acquisition and expansion. Welcome back to Retail Remix. I'm your host, Nicole Silberstein, Editor-in-Chief at Retail Touchpoints, and today we are chatting with Katie Babineau, the Chief Marketer for Beyond Yoga. Katie, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So to start, I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about how Beyond Yoga has evolved to where it is today, particularly since the Levi's acquisition.
Sure. And I've been at Beyond for almost 2 years. So even within the last 2 years, we've done a ton of work to evolve the brand. But coming in a couple of years ago, part of what drew me to the brand was this values-led mission of creating athleisure at the time for everybody. And that really was a disruptive, bold idea that the founders had. At the time, there wasn't really activewear on the market that was created for all different body types. So that was the place of, where the brand was built. And fast forward to 2021, sort of peak of pandemic where people were really prioritizing comfort in their outfitting. Levi's acquired the brand and saw and sees tremendous potential as we build and scale the brand. And so since the acquisition, obviously I came in 2024, and we've really just been focused on what's the next iteration of showing that representation in an industry that's very crowded, very saturated, but still fast growing. And how do we show a bit more of that inclusivity and representation? That's a big part of how we're growing and scaling the brand today.
You mentioned how crowded this category is right now. And I really don't know if I can think of another category where the competition is quite so fierce at the moment and really seems like it's only becoming more so. What do you see as Beyond Yoga's differentiators in that crowd?
Yeah, and we love it. We don't really see it as a zero-sum game. And what's really exciting to us is what we've seen in the data and the research is that the premium activewear category is actually the fastest growing within the two, sort of mass and then premium. And we sit in premium. And there are a lot of players. But what we've seen is that the customer is really open to discovering new brands. And they're really open to challenger brands, which we believe we are. And so for us, what's always been really important is listening to the community and the customer. We, 2 years ago, sat and listened to a group of customers, community insight, thought leaders, and really learned, what are people saying, feeling, hearing today in the market. And what we heard overwhelmingly was this opportunity for a place in the market that showed up as permission to chase joy and focus on progress over perfection. In that sea of sameness, what we really noticed was repetition and storytelling focused on perfection and performance. And people were a bit burnt out, exhausted, and wanting permission to fail, to believe in trying new things. And so we want to show up and give people a bit of permission to fail and also, chase a bit of joy in life and really focus on holistic point of view on wellness, which is mind and body and connection with others.
Mm-hmm. What advantages does being part of the Levi's family afford the brand, do you think?
Yeah, it's a really interesting mix, and I feel very honored to be a part of it because really what it allows us to do is move quickly with the support and infrastructure that Levi's has, being a 160-year-old legacy, a historic brand. They've got solid, steady infrastructure that we can lean on from time to time when needed to scale systems or deliver quicker speed to market. And it's this really interesting differentiator for us because we could move at the pace of a high growth company, but with the stability and support of our parent company, Levi's, which is, outstanding and best in class and go to market.
Yeah. So really giving you that scaling advantage, but still maintaining your own unique kind of DNA.
Ethos, exactly.
So I know the Seek Beyond brand platform has been an important piece of kind of bringing that progress over perfection message to consumers. And I think you have some exciting updates to share on that front. So tell us a little bit more about the idea of Seek Beyond and what's coming up on that front.
Yeah, I would love to. So we launched Seek Beyond last year back in the fall, July, actually, 2025. And really, we wanted to bring to life that ethos of progress over perfection and chasing a bit of joy and bring that back into the world. And so, we launched with an anthem in partnership with Issa Rae, and we chose her because she really embodied this growth mindset. And we opened it up to the community, and we brought together the community that has been with us for years and, sort of open response back to them how they seek beyond. And we saw tremendous response, 100% positive sentiment, which you just don't see online nowadays.
No.
And everyone's got something to say, but we were really overwhelmed by the positive response. And it really worked hard for us in bringing new audiences into the brand. And that was the goal. We have a very strong product offering and we've got a strong brand promise. We need to bring more people in. And, that was the goal. And we achieved that and sort of accelerated into Q4 to close the year. And so this year we wanted to think about not just Seek Beyond continuing to drive everything that we do, make and create every day, but also how can we lean on this mission to bring together people in a really joyful moment in real life. And so we're thinking about Seek Beyond this spring on March 21st around the spring equinox, bringing our community together for a bit of movement and a music celebration, very joyful musical appearance in partnership with Sophie Tucker. And we loved Sophie Tucker as just like a very optimistic, joyful duo. And, I think a lot of us at the brand are fans, a lot of community members fans. As soon as we announced the thing, the guest list filled up so fast. So, immediate positive response from the community and really just a joyful moment for the brand to bring together people in real life. We felt like that was really important to activate and bring together with more of an experience this time around. And so what we'll do is we'll, capture and create stories from before and after the event, and that'll scale through digital to bring new audiences into the brand as well.
So is Sophie Tucker going to continue on then, like Issa Rae did throughout the year as kind of like brand ambassadors, or is this just a one-time thing centered on this event?
TBD,
Okay.
We want to make sure that we're always sort of surprising and delighting. And of course, we believe in longer term relationships with the brand and over the course of time that helps build a deeper connection. So TBD, we will see.
Listen and learn, see what the reaction's like.
We'll see initial really positive reactions. So we're excited about that. And we know that Sophie Tucker really prioritized health and wellness, and it's important, which aligns with our mission. So excited for this first step in the journey, and we'll continue to surprise and delight in new and different ways.
So it's interesting because recently a lot of brands have been going kind of this platform route rather than more like traditional seasonal campaign pushes. I'm curious why you've taken this tack at Beyond Yoga and if you think it speaks to any kind of larger shift in marketing strategies today.
It can be called a platform, but it really is for ethos and it drives everything we do every single day. So I think about it more as when I came to Beyond, there was a real need for the internal team as well to understand what is our purpose? What do we focus on every day? What do we wake up and do? And so the research and the insight work that we did was essential to rally the team internally on, our core internal purpose. It influences everything we do, from how we think about product and how we service customer support calls. And so that growth mindset really is about internal behavior and external behavior. And so to me, it's less about thinking in terms of flighting, like when is it dropping and how long is the flight, which is typically associated with the campaign model. And it's more about behaviors and how we show up in the world, which was essential to helping us scale this brand with purpose and continuing to honor that legacy that was built by the founders, which was so purpose-driven and values-led. So I would think about it more like a behavior for the team and externally as well.
Right. I think that also helps me understand a little bit more too, the fact that it is just as important internally to have that alignment and that kind of focus, that North Star, and then that trickles out through everything. I am curious though, how you measure the success. Like, how do you know then if it's working? Do you still rely on some of those more traditional marketing metrics? Are there other things you look at? Employee feedback maybe? How do you know that you've gotten it right?
So it's important for any brand to have a North Star, to understand what does success look like? How do we know if we're winning? What are we measuring ourselves against? So we look at a lot of, I'd say, both short-term and long-term metrics. And we look at the short-term business metrics that I'm sure any other brand that functions off of a daily sales cycle would do. We look at revenue, we look at traffic, we look at conversion rate on site. We look at all the signals that are sort of telling us short-term momentum. And then, as we know, brands are built over years. And so we know that there's this balance of building brand equity and bringing new audiences in that may pay off long tail. And we think about it like you would a research and development, that may be an 18-month roadmap. And so for building brand equity, there needs to be this balance of bringing new audiences in, retargeting, and continuing to speak to that audience so that they've got time to learn about your brand, become more familiar, consider it, and then convert. And so for us, we do look at brand health on an annual basis. We've got a brand survey that we work with a partner on that gives us a read on the benchmarks for awareness and familiarity, which for us is a really big opportunity because we know we've got such strong product promise. Once we bring people in, we see this, long-term loyalty, which is really unique to us. And so the hypothesis around moving the needle on awareness and familiarity being very critical to our long-term health is how we think about measuring brand. I mentioned earlier in this call, when we launch campaigns or we launch content in the market, we look at signals from the community. So we look at sentiment, and it's not the end all be all, but we want to know that that's feedback from the community. What are people saying? Is it resonating? Is it not resonating? Did we miss something? So we look at sentiment often. We look at engagement rates. We look at, is content getting shared? Are people interpreting this and really holding it as valuable as a share to their friend or family? So those are more the short-term signals that we look at. So there's a lot of measurement, all leading back to that, are we bringing new people in? Are we resonating? And are we bringing people further down the funnel?
Now, Beyond Yoga has recently, like some of its competitors, been expanding out from the world of pure performance apparel into more kind of active lifestyle offerings. Tell us a bit about some of those product expansions and how you go about doing that without diluting the brand's athletic wear DNA.
It's hard to do. And what I'll say is that for Beyond Yoga, it was always about the promise of getting people beyond the mat. And so now today, we've got an expanded line that allows people to go from workout to work to special occasion. Some of the new categories that we've launched, like dresses or outerwear or fleece or lifestyle pants, truly do allow people to go beyond the mat now. And so we had these early signals of belief that customer wanted more from us. And as we roll out these new categories, we're continuing to see strong momentum there and growth for the business. And so we want to lean in where it makes sense for our brand, which will always be rooted in movement. And so the fabric has to be the best thing that you'll wear all day. We want that promise of comfort, versatility. We know that softness has always been a part of our product DNA. So we want that to be true in any new fabric that we introduce. So far, so good. And we've had really positive response to new categories as we scale.
How lucky that you have Beyond already in your name too, because the brand still makes sense even as you go beyond yoga offerings.
Yeah. And it was always the thought, and now
Right.
we're able to fulfill on it. And so we're really seeing natural momentum build up in that capacity.
As a consumer, I have to say, I love these things that I can wear to work events, but they're as comfortable as yoga pants. It's an incredible innovation. I just love it.
Yeah, likewise. I mean, I'm wearing our new elasticated trouser, and I could, if I wanted to, I probably could work out in it, but I'm not.
Right.
It's more workwear play, but it's helpful that we can be comfortable while we look a little more polished and go on our day.
Look, I mean, work can be a workout sometimes. I mean, we ran into each other at NRF. That's a workout. It's work, but you are walking all over the place.
Exactly.
So now, before you joined Beyond Yoga, most of your experience was in tech, most recently at Snapchat, but before that, GoPro, Sony, a number of other companies. What similarities and differences have you found between the worlds of tech and fashion? I guess I'm wondering what maybe learnings you've brought from your time in tech to Beyond Yoga.
Yeah, when I first was approached with the opportunity, I was so excited to learn a new industry. For me, 15 years in consumer tech was incredibly exciting. The speed, the innovation. I sort of fell in love with the art of taking really complex innovations and bringing it out to the world in really human ways, and so building lifestyle brand around what can be really intimidating product. And it was time to learn more. So I came to Beyond and immediately realized marketing can be transferable. At the end of the day, if you're listening to what the product offering is, relating that back to what the consumer value will be, there's the product truth and then the consumer truth. Like, what do people care about? What problems are you solving? And leaning into that from a narrative or story perspective. And so from that angle, it was exciting to see, wow, I think I can bring new ideas from a different industry into an industry that needs a little innovation and go to market and thinking about things differently as it relates to marketing. So that was super compelling to me. What I've learned about apparel is it is fast in its own right. The trend changes at the speed of culture, which is cool, essentially, to see product innovation move as fast as, a cultural trend one day and the next. The product is vast. And so we're launching products all the time. It becomes more about what's the through line of the line? What is the big idea, and how do you translate that to people in a way that will resonate? So lots of similarities, lots of newness that I've been learning and growing myself. But I think all in all, we've been able to think about things differently, bring a little bit of that complexity from tech that may feel less complex in a world that is a little more emotional and artful. So it's been fun.
So now, beyond this next exciting chapter for Seek Beyond, what else is on the docket for Beyond Yoga this year?
We are doubling down on the community who we love so much. And for us, what we're seeing is they're really craving in real life connection. And what's unique about the community at Beyond is it's cross generations, cross gender, men and women. We're seeing in our retail locations, moms, daughters, grandmas, husbands, partners, all shopping together, which is really cool to see, just kind of like wide breadth of relevance in the line. And so we want to scale that in real life connection through retail stores. Brick and mortar is a big opportunity for us. Last year, we doubled our footprint. This year, we'll expand as well. We typically go into markets where we see e-commerce customer base. So we know we've got a community there already. And then we build hyper-local community events and partnerships to really foster that in real life with the stores. So leaning in there where we can. And then our go-to-market, we're just thinking about, how quick the platforms are changing, content trend is changing, and really just thinking about more social first storytelling. And we've seen such significant impact on engagement and conversion as we bring more social proof into our commerce channels like the website and email. And so we're leaning in where we can to cross-pollinate the social proof of real people, real stories, how are people leaning into our product and daily life, and just showcasing more of that where we can to connect the customer journey a bit.
So what does that look like? Are you bringing customer stories onto the website? Are you bringing in user-generated videos? Like, how are you really doing that?
All of it. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think of yourself as a consumer, customer. It really helps to hear, what are people thinking? What are people saying? How are they wearing it? How are they styling? And so we found very early on, about a year and a half ago, what we were seeing work really well organically on social started to scale for us in paid. So we built the ecosystem, the infrastructure to fuel more of those real human stories into paid. Ultimately, people want to see, how are you wearing that jacket with that dress? How are you pairing, that fleece with the Spacedye? What colors are you pairing? So part of that is product education as well, but doing that through a really human, relatable point
like
of view.
real customers.
Yeah.
Well, so that's the last of the hard questions. But before I let you go, we have our mixtape section of more lighthearted questions. This first one, I thought it would be an easy one, but maybe it's going to be a hard one. Let's see. So Beyond Yoga is known for its Spacedye fabric. That's kind of made the name for the brand. If you could wear only one color of Spacedye for the rest of your life, what shade would you pick?
Well, spoiler alert, I'm wearing all knock navy. I'm wearing all navy today. And I've been really into navy as a moment of just sporty prep, which is a bit of my style. And so I'd say knock navy and Spacedye paired back with, we're all about the monochromatic look. So knock navy on knock navy on knock navy for me.
Yeah. Okay. See, so that was an easy one. Sometimes people have a hard time picking between I love so many, I can't choose kind of thing.
Yeah.
What is one standard marketing rule that you just think is total nonsense?
I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I don't think I think about any of the standard marketing rules. I think I'm a little less traditional.
So all of them is your answer?
Which maybe is nonsensical. We'll see. TBD.
Yeah.
But I just think marketing changes every single day at the pace of, how people choose to show up and engage. So I try not to lean on any quote unquote marketing rules if I can help it.
Yeah. I mean, that's certainly true right now with how much AI is shaking things up too.
Exactly.
Just given that you now work for a wellness brand, I'm curious, what is one kind of non-negotiable part of your morning routine that has nothing to do with work, like the thing that you have to do every morning for yourself?
Oh, I don't know how healthy this is, but coffee.
Yeah.
I have 2 young kids. The next fast follow, I would say, is just time with my kids. And has been, if I can swing it, even 15 minutes in the morning, some quality time is definitely a non-negotiable before I even dive into my phone or work for the day. Just filling up my cup with the people I love is, for the most part.
Yeah, you could never go wrong with that.
Yeah.
What is one fashion trend that you're glad is gone and one that you hope never leaves?
Well, fashion, as I've learned, is so cyclical. So probably by the time this airs, my answer will be outdated. But I will just say I'm not hoping to lean into the crop top anytime soon. I think those days are behind me. And I am loving the baggy and very appreciative of that coming back into style. So I'm going to hang on to the baggy. baggy pant as long as I possibly can.
You know, the thing I was thinking though is one that I hope never comes back is the Jenko pants of the night. Because there's so much 90s out there right now, and I love it. I love the maximalism, the bright colors, all the patterns. But the one thing that I hope never comes back is like the Jenko, like the low rise, wide leg, really wide leg pant from the 90s.
I don't think I'll be leaning in there either.
Yeah.
I think they are also behind me.
It was, I think, typically paired with a crop top too. So
no, thank you. No more.
Okay. I saved my favorite one for last because after all your years at Snap, I wanted to get your honest take. Do you think we are over-filtering our lives, or is this new kind of authentic trend just another filter on social?
It's a great question. And, I'll just caveat that at Snap, what we saw actually, because of the way that platform was built, the one-to-one connection and messaging value prop is that people actually were pretty unfiltered on that platform. They were really sharing I
could see that. Yeah.
Real life. And so that always brought me joy to see that. And then what I would say is the term authenticity, I think, is a bit overused, but really at the core, it's who are you? And leaning into what makes you unique. And so if that is posting pretty pictures on social, great. If that is completely quitting the internet, then even better. I think it's not one or the other. It's truly, what is right for you as an individual and a brand, and knowing who you are and behaving accordingly is what makes you authentic.
What a nice answer. Well, thank you, Katie, for taking the time to share some of your marketing wisdom with us today and tell us more about what's happening over at Beyond Yoga.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks to all of you for joining us. Let's continue the conversation over on LinkedIn on the Retail Touchpoints page. Stop by and tell us your Spacedye color or any other thoughts this conversation might have sparked. And do let us know who you want to hear from in future episodes. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you all soon. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Retail Remix. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a future episode. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or your favorite podcast app. Until next time, keep mixing it up.